What do most countries have in common? According to the World Health Organization, unsafe air. The WHO recently conducted a study. It analyzed air pollution across 134 nations and regions, and it came to a disturbing and shameful conclusion.
Find out about the 10 dirtiest countries in the world, where pollution is the order of the day. From toxic air and overflowing waste to contaminated water sources, these nations face life-threatening risks. The impacts range from disease to environmental destruction. India ranks second, with millions, including women, forced to defecate openly on the streets without a choice. What could be driving these dangerous conditions, and how do they affect the people living there? Join us as we explore the causes, consequences, and harsh realities behind this global issue. Number 10. Mongolia. Mongolia is a landlocked country in Asia that is bordered by two major powers, and it is also known for having one of the poorest environments in the continent. While Mongolia is well known for its expansive grasslands, visiting the country will not necessarily give you the picturesque image of wind sweeping through the grass to uncover grazing cattle and sheep. Often sparse grass, desertified land, and rivers polluted by mining are the predominant sites. Each spring, Mongolia will be transformed into a wind disaster paradise by the cold air from Siberia. The yellow dust storms that darken the sky will cover both grasslands and cities, causing additional harm to the land without the presence of protective plants. From a logical perspective, with its extensive land, advantageous diplomatic relations, and low population density, Mongolia should essentially be a dream destination on Earth. However, this is not the case. Mongolia has been experiencing more serious environmental problems, particularly soil desertification, in the last few years. This not only poses a threat to its internal economic and social progress, but also impacts the living standards of people in adjacent border regions. Mongolia is among the nations hardest hit by desertification globally. More than 70% of its land is experiencing different levels of desertification. This is naturally connected to the country's climate. To begin with, Mongolia experiences low and unevenly spread out levels of precipitation, with the majority of areas receiving less than 300 mm of rainfall per year. Also, Mongolia is situated in regions of high latitude and plateaus. Long winters with high latitudes result in cold temperatures. At high elevations, precipitation will not be held on the surface because of gravity, causing it to move elsewhere, making it hard for the ground to keep moisture. However, the primary cause of Mongolia becoming the most desertified country in Asia is not solely the natural environment. Other areas with comparable or even more severe geographic conditions like Mongolia, such as Inner Mongolia in China and Siberia in Russia, have not faced this situation. The main reason for this problem in Mongolia actually originates from the Mongolian people. To begin with, animal farming is a crucial sector in Mongolia. However, excessive grazing has caused significant pasture deterioration. In 2019, Mongolia had 70.9 million livestock, surpassing the pasture's carrying capacity by 33 million, as reported by the United Nations Development Program. In various areas, the amount of grazing livestock exceeds the pasture environment's carrying capacity by 2 to 5 times. Overgrazing like this damages grassland plants, decreases soil cover and resilience, and increases erosion by wind and water. Moreover, the mining sector in Mongolia significantly contributes to environmental degradation. Its vast reserves of minerals, including copper, coal, and iron, are abundant. Nevertheless, uncontrolled and illicit mining is widespread. These activities not only use up a significant amount of water resources, but also damage surface vegetation and soil composition. If waste rock, waste residue, and wastewater from mining operations are not treated correctly, they will continue to contaminate and harm the environment. Mongolia lacks a viable method to appropriately manage this situation. Wastewater and waste residue are haphazardly stacked and released. Mongolia does not appear very eager to address the growing pollution issue it is facing. In the end, Mongolians who have some financial means will travel to Korea, and the country's main sources of economy, aside from herding and mining, are few. If compelled to fix the situation, Mongolia could only depend on servicing Korean tourists and customers in order to earn a living. If you think this is shocking, wait till you see the countries on this list. Number 9. Chad. Chad is number 9, a nation located in Africa. It is also a nation that exports resources. The country has plentiful reserves of oil, natron, gold, and other minerals, with promising opportunities for export. Nevertheless, because of the absence of advanced extraction techniques and the significant problem of illicit mining and smuggling, this distinctive natural asset has transformed into a cause of pollution in Chad. Despite Chad having a low level of industrialization, the extraction and processing of resources such as oil have led to industrial emissions becoming a significant contributor to air pollution. The pollution sources have a direct impact on Chad's water sources, leading to harm to local agricultural production, resulting in increased dependence on resources across the entire country. However, the available resources will continue to cause pollution in the country, connecting it to industries with high levels of pollution. If not managed correctly, the oil extraction process can lead to water pollution. Chad is facing water scarcity issues, worsened by industrial discharge, no-point source pollution from agriculture, and direct discharge of untreated domestic sewage, leading to severe water pollution problems in Lake Chad's surrounding areas. As a result of excessive development and pollution, the quality of water has significantly declined, putting the safety of drinking water and the health of the ecosystem at risk. Furthermore, soil pollution can be significantly worsened by leakage incidents that occur during the extraction and transportation of oil. Chad has inadequate road infrastructure and worrisome public security. Each year, numerous territories are contaminated due to oil spills. Even more concerning, Chad is experiencing a worsening desertification problem as a result of lack of rain and excessive development. Desertification causes land resources to decrease and degrade, while also worsening sandstorm disasters and environmental degradation. Chad's biodiversity is in serious danger due to the increasing ecological destruction and pollution. The deterioration of the environment will worsen Chad's already declining agriculture and livestock sectors. Regarding this matter, Chad's efforts in environmental management can only be described as a drop in the bucket. Chad opted to join the Climate and Clean Air Coalition to bolster its efforts at the national level in reducing short-lived climate pollutants, SLCPs. This decision was motivated by the necessity to remain updated on the most recent developments in scientific studies, especially concerning black carbon and its influence on the overall discourse on climate change. Wait till you see the next one. You will be shocked to the bone. Number 8. Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, being one of the wealthiest countries globally, also faces challenges with environmental problems. Being a dominant force in the Middle East economy, it boasts numerous industrial businesses and factories. During production, these businesses generate a significant volume of waste gas, wastewater, and solid waste. Even though Saudi Arabia prioritizes management, the regulatory enforcement is insufficient, and there is widespread domestic corruption. Combined with Saudi Arabia's natural water scarcity, this compounds the challenge of treating pollution. As a result, progress in pollution control has been sluggish. In addition to industrial pollution, the environment in Saudi Arabia itself is also a key factor in causing pollution. Situated in the Middle East with a dry climate and extensive deserts, this geographical setting results in sandstorms being classified as a natural disaster. Sandstorms transport excessive dust and harmful particles, posing a threat to both the human respiratory system and vegetation by causing significant damage. Certainly, the points mentioned above are not the most crucial reasons. In the end, numerous regions worldwide experience frequent sandstorms and robust industrial activity. Extraction activities and water scarcity problems remain the primary reasons for pollution in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, as the largest oil producer globally, heavily depends on fossil fuels. The production, processing, and use of fossil fuels create substantial levels of contaminants. Because fresh water is scarce, Saudi Arabia has also actively expanded its distillation industry in order to fulfill the country's domestic freshwater needs. Though distillation of seawater requires a large amount of energy, the process of distillation requires large quantities of oil, natural gas, and other fossil fuels to generate energy, leading to intense air pollution. It can also release large amounts of brine and industrial wastewater into the ocean, leading to damage in water bodies. Due to environmental concerns, Saudi Arabia has been experiencing severe heat waves regularly in recent years. Thousands have required hospitalization or have lost their lives due to heat stroke. In reaction, the Saudi government can only persistently invest money in addressing the issue. Currently, Saudi Arabia has suggested numerous advanced technological development options to tackle the problem and is actively seeking out foreign technical professionals to assist with its progress. Nevertheless, these endeavors are slightly too ambitious. Whether it is possible to put them into action and enhance Saudi Arabia's circumstances is yet to be determined. Number 7. Peru. Peru is a land where gold is abundant. It is also considered one of the most fragmented nations globally. Peru has managed to maintain its ancient forests and mountain valleys in almost pristine condition. Meanwhile, Peru is amongst the nations most heavily affected by pollution from the metallurgical sector. As a primary exporter of mineral resources worldwide, Peru heavily depends on metal trading for its economy. Nevertheless, prolonged metal smelting operations have resulted in significant environmental contamination. Some level of pollution suffered by Peru is caused by olden days metallurgical technology. La Oroya, one of the world's most polluted cities, is found in this location. Using La Oroya, for instance, this city has operated a copper smelter since 1922 and later added lead and zinc refineries. The air, water sources, and soil are badly polluted by the harmful gases, and heavy metals like lead, copper, and zinc are discharged from these smelters. They present a significant threat to the well-being of nearby community members. Research shows that 99% of children in close proximity to La Oroya have blood lead levels surpassing the safety threshold. Despite La Oroya being the most impacted, the issue persists in other areas. Due to this, Peru has been enlisted among the countries with the most critical child health problems. Without a doubt, in this scenario, the Peruvian government has definitely considered adjusting the current state of affairs. Nevertheless, a significant portion of mining activities in Peru is not under government control or operating with legal permits, and these illegal miners are completely beyond the control of the law. Extensive unlawful mining in Peru has caused drastic harm to the country's air, water, and soil ecosystems. Polluted wastewater from metal smelting and mining operations is released untreated into rivers, lakes, and other bodies of water, causing the water quality to depreciate. Moreover, water pollution is worsened by the discharge of chemical fertilizers and pesticides from agricultural activities into water bodies via runoff and other pathways. In addition to water pollution, prolonged metal smelting and mining operations have also resulted in significant soil pollution in Peru. Accumulation of heavy metals in soil can lead to them entering the human body through the food chain, resulting in negative effects on human health. Furthermore, Peru's economy has not seen any benefits from widespread illegal mining and the large mining industry, as illegal miners do not pay taxes and formal mining activities are influenced by North American companies and unethical practices of international corporations. Hence, the economic issues in Peru are incredibly serious. Severe economic issues in Peru have caused a deterioration in the country's ability to govern effectively, rendering it incapable of addressing growing natural calamities. Consider infectious diseases, for instance. The president was informed by the Peruvian Minister of Health in April 2024 that there were 120 dengue fever-related deaths and more than 117,000 reported cases in the first 4 months of the year in Peru. Additionally, following this event, Peru will also confront an unparalleled El Niño catastrophe. Peruvians continue to face unending dark days due to a combination of environmental pollution and natural or man-made disasters. You would not believe what the next country suffers when it comes to environmental problems. Number 6. Nigeria. Nigeria ranks as the 6th most severe air pollution case globally, as reported by the Stakeholder Democracy Network, SDN. A number of cities in Nigeria have been ranked among the most contaminated globally. Lagos, the center of Nigeria's economic activities, is characterized by a high level of pollution. With the growth of cities and an increase in economic activities, the potential consequences of ignoring our current situation are uncertain. The air contains gases in sufficient amounts that facilitate the survival of living organisms. If the concentration strays from this optimal level, the air is considered contaminated. Therefore, air pollution refers to the changes in the atmosphere caused by dust, smoke, and other dangerous gases, whether physical, biological, or chemical in nature. Pollution can arise from sources such as dust, smoke from burning different flammable materials, volcanic eruptions, etc. Human-made sources of air pollution include damaging power production, vehicle exhaust, farming practices, waste burning, factory and industrial emissions, mining activities, building heating systems, and methane emissions from unregulated waste disposal. In Nigeria, being innovative is key and a significant source of income. However, similar to other industrial processes, it creates environmental risks that act as gradual poisons, as they typically lead to illness and death over a prolonged period of time. This differs from the instant health effects caused by the presence of microorganisms in water, food, and the environment. The hidden and gradual impact of the dangers associated with oil exploration and exploitation in Nigeria make it challenging to accurately recognize their role in the disease burden, particularly in communities where oil is found, despite the rise of non-communicable diseases as significant health issues in Nigeria. Residents living in the oil-producing areas of the Niger Delta in Nigeria have no choice but to drink, cook with, and wash in polluted water. If they manage to catch them, they eat fish contaminated with oil, while their fields are being destroyed and toxins are present all around. Residents complain about health problems, but their worries are not being listened to. In the meantime, major oil companies continue to harm important resources, endangering people's lives. The destructive spill has severely affected food security, depriving individuals of their basic right to nourishment. In Nigeria, petroleum, kerosene stoves, firewood, coal are largely used, and there are cases of uncontrolled burning in the environment. The country is experiencing an increase in the use of vehicles equipped with olden days engines that produce harmful discharges. Due to the excessive amount of garbage produced and inadequate waste disposal practices in various regions of the country, air pollution plays a major role in causing global warming/climate change and other dangers to our environment. It leads to the formation of acid rain, eutrophication, depletion of the ozone layer, harms human health, resulting in allergies, respiratory and cardiovascular diseases, and lung damage, and creates discomfort. Anyway, breathing in smoke from cooking fires leads to 3.8 million people losing their lives. 22,800 children in Lagos State lost their lives due to air pollution, as reported by the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency in 2021. Number 5. Somalia. Many people are aware of Somalia's piracy issue, but few realize that Somali pirates turn to piracy as a last resort. If the situation in Somalia wasn't as serious, the pollution that led to the destruction of their way of life would not have occurred. Originally, they were simply a group of sincere fishermen and farmers. Despite the fact that Somalia's poverty and turmoil are a result of civil war, the civil war itself was not enough to make fishing and farming impossible in the country. The emergence of Somali pirates can be attributed directly to Western nations. During the 1960s, the advancement of nuclear energy as a novel energy source was progressing rapidly. This led to the issue of figuring out how to get rid of nuclear waste. Dealing with nuclear waste is very expensive, and not handling it properly can result in being held responsible. Amid intense pressure, certain European energy companies focused on making money, and organized crime groups covertly exploited Somalia's lenient maritime regulations in the 1980s to dispose of large quantities of nuclear waste in Somali waters. The nuclear wastes have caused severe harm in Somalia. Numerous fishermen have been affected by radiation sickness, and the fishing areas and farmlands they used to depend on have become contaminated wastelands, with deformed children present in every direction. Even if the United Nations wants to assist the Somali people in cleaning up, the challenge lies in not knowing the locations of the nuclear waste dumps. Since this event, it appears that large Western corporations have discovered an inexpensive method for getting rid of trash and waste. International commercial vessels and fishing boats frequently release wastewater, oils, and other dangerous substances when they are in Somali waters. These emissions are directly causing imbalances in the marine ecosystem and have devastated Somalia's already scarce fisheries. Moreover, in order to cut expenses, certain companies or individuals opt to directly dispose of waste into the ocean, worsening ocean pollution levels and depriving Somalis of their livelihoods entirely. As a result of extreme desperation, Somali fishermen resorted to engaging in acts of piracy. Because of inadequate waste management, numerous urban rivers and surface water bodies in Somalia are overwhelmed with pollution. The Shabelle River is an illustration of surface water primarily used as a channel for liquid, solid, domestic, and industrial waste substances. Furthermore, due to the lack of a robust Somali Coast Guard, illegal disposal of dangerous waste in Somalia's territorial waters persists despite the presence of rules and regulations. As per Somalia's initial communication to the UNFCCC, the dangerous waste includes uranium, radioactive waste, lead, cadmium, mercury, industrial, hospital, chemical, leather treatment, and other toxic waste. Hence, these unlawful actions pose a substantial risk to both public health and the environment in the nation. Number 4. Nepal. Air pollution in Nepal poses a massive threat to environment and public health, having blown past WHO's guidelines by nearly 5 times recently. Deteriorating air quality in Kathmandu poses a significant threat to many Nepalese folks' overall health, leaving them vulnerable to various nasty afflictions. Air pollution gets constantly flagged by WHO as a major cause of death and health scourge in Nepal somehow every year. The primary causes of elevated air pollution in Nepal are the activities of construction, manufacturing companies, waste burning, and vehicle exhaust emissions. It is noteworthy that air pollution is highest during the dry season between December and April, with levels fluctuating based on altitude. Nepal has very high levels of air pollution, making it categorized as a polluted and unsafe place to live in or visit. Before you start preparing for your journey, it is important to ensure you steer clear of the dry season and reserve a place to stay on a higher ground. Air pollution in the city wreaks havoc on public health, causing widespread illness and death, severely straining healthcare resources meanwhile. Just recently, lack of air quality monitoring stations presented a significant hurdle in addressing nationwide air pollution issues. There has also been a lack of health impact assessment data to estimate the health and economic burden of air pollution, as well as of the sectoral measures needed to tackle this environmental challenge. In response, the government of Nepal, through its Department of Environment, has established 3 monitoring sites, 2 in Kathmandu Valley and 1 in Dhulakel, and plans to set up a network of air quality monitoring sites throughout the country. As the first Southeast Asian city to pilot the Urban Health Initiative, launched with strong political support, the lessons learned in Kathmandu will serve as an example and open the door to air pollution and health mitigation projects in other major Southeast Asian cities facing air pollution problems. Plans are underway to build the capacity of key stakeholders and perform joint multi-sector data analysis. Nepal rolled out its Green, Resilient, Inclusive Development approach in 2021. Nationwide efforts are underway to develop a strategic plan for grid, tackling air pollution with a strong emphasis on urgent action. Nepal's government aims to hit net zero emissions by 2045, boosting clean energy's share to 15%, thereby tackling the nation's air pollution crisis. This next country is known for topping the list of unclean places in the world every year. Number 3. Bangladesh. Bangladesh holds the number 3 spot as the most polluted country globally because of the severe pollution problem it faces. The country's residents are greatly worried about the health and overall quality of life due to the extensive pollution levels. The primary contributors to pollution in Bangladesh are human actions, such as using solid fuels for cooking, disposing of industrial waste, and allowing agricultural runoff. The utilization of solid fuels for cooking in rural locations is contributing to indoor air pollution. This affects not just the health of those cooking, but also damages the overall air quality in the country. Industrial activities exacerbate pollution by discharging untreated waste into water bodies. Utilizing pesticides and fertilizers in agriculture contributes to contamination of soil, water, and air. Pollution in Bangladesh has a significant and extensive effect on health. A World Bank report states that yearly, approximately 272,000 deaths and 5.2 billion illness days are caused by preventable factors like air pollution, contaminated water, inadequate sanitation, poor hygiene, and lead exposure. Household and outdoor air pollution are very detrimental to health and account for nearly 55% of premature fatalities. The report notes that children exposed to lead poisoning have a yearly decline of around 20 million IQ points. The pollution in Bangladesh is causing major environmental problems. The water in the country is heavily contaminated because of factories and garbage like plastic and sewage being dumped into it without any control. This pollution not only harms the health of people who drink the polluted water, but also damages the ecosystem and the variety of plants and animals in the country. Pollution in the soil and air also puts the country's ability to grow food and overall economic growth at risk. The government of Bangladesh is working to fix the pollution problem by taking action. The Department of Environment is putting in place plans to lower air pollution, like encouraging the use of cleaner fuels and making sure that emission standards are followed more closely. The government has started new initiatives to enhance waste management and promote the use of renewable energy. Additionally, the proposed Clean Air Act of 2019 intends to create a detailed plan for dealing with air pollution nationwide. Bangladesh is still dealing with big problems when it comes to controlling pollution, even though they have made some efforts to address it. The country has trouble enforcing pollution-reducing measures because they don't have good systems in place and lack the necessary infrastructure. With the economy growing quickly and the population increasing rapidly, there is even more strain being put on the environment in Bangladesh. Number 2, India asserts itself as a lively and potent country, boasting the distinction of being the world's biggest democracy. While not everyone admits to these grand titles, there is one title that India has been widely recognized for across the globe, which is being the most polluted country. In every aspect, India is dirty. Prior to the internet becoming popular, a significant number of individuals, particularly from China and Japan, had a mysterious desire for India. But when they traveled to India, the birthplace of Buddhism, they discovered it was not as majestic as they had heard, and not a busy Buddhist pilgrimage site. However, it was a location abundant in strange food and waste floating openly, with a populace as dense as an anthill. The odor in the atmosphere resembled the stench of a large public restroom. As per data from the World Health Organization, India ranks among the top 10 most polluted countries globally. Some of the world's most polluted cities include New Delhi, Kolkata, and Mumbai in India. The Ganges and Yamuna rivers in India rank among the top 15 most contaminated rivers globally. India is also included in the world's top 10 countries with limited access to clean water. These lists may show prejudice towards Asian countries and developing nations, but when it comes to evaluating India, they are surprisingly fair. It's important to note that only 46.9% of the 250 million households have their own toilets. Approximately 600 million Indians lack access to toilets, leading them to resort to using rivers, garbage dumps, and defecating on roadsides as a solution. In the most impoverished Indian slums, this figure is intensified to 1,500 individuals using a single toilet. The abysmal sanitation conditions cause repulsion in anyone living in today's society. In addition to toilets, public amenities in India are also deficient. For instance, India's sewage system struggles to cope with the heavy rainfall in the South Asian subcontinent. Every year, floods in India result in a significant number of deaths. While floods like those in the US and China happen in India, the local government is unable to manage the consequences of any natural disaster. Victims are frequently left in their original location, corpses are not promptly managed, and major epidemics commonly occur after major disasters in India. The Indian government has contemplated enhancing the situation, whether through education or infrastructure. The Indian government has tried, but it's important to understand that India is a country known for its significant regional autonomy. It is difficult for the central government to directly order states to carry out policies. India's sanitation revolution has been postponed due to this. Can you guess what the #1 dirtiest country is? Let's find out. Number 1. Pakistan. Pakistan, situated in the center of South Asia, is globally the #1 most polluted country. Pollution levels skyrocketed due to rapid industrialization and urban sprawl, which also fueled a massive population surge. Pollution poses a confounding problem for Pakistan. Air pollution is largely caused by the country's industrial sector, which plays a significant role in its ecological degradation. The nation's cement, steel, textile sectors spew particulate matter like sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, and volatile organic compounds into the atmosphere. Rise in the number of old vehicles on Pakistan's roads, many inadequately maintained, significantly contributes to air pollution. Nitrogen oxides, carbon monoxide, and hydrocarbons mostly come from vehicle emissions. Agricultural practices like burning crop residues, biomass, low-quality fuels for cooking and heating promotes air pollution in Pakistan. Pollution's devastating impact on Pakistan's health proves extremely damaging. Inhaling low-quality air poses a multitude of health risks, including nasty respiratory issues, heart disease, and even the dreaded cancer. A 2024 data suggests that air pollution claims around 128,000 people annually. Nationwide, a plethora of serious health risks stem from water pollution, with contaminated water supplies precipitating outbreaks of cholera and typhoid. Pollution ravages human health and environment pretty badly, destroying natural beauty in its path. Pakistan's government recently rolled out a couple of initiatives aimed at mitigating environmental degradation nationwide. Nationwide efforts to improve air quality include a clean air policy launched in 2023. Clean cooking fuel adoption gets a boost through this policy, particularly in rural areas where biomass fuels still dominate. The Environment Ministry is developing a national clean air plan that sets air pollution concentration targets, identifies mitigation actions, and outlines coordination on air quality management. Pakistan is signed on to the Global Methane Pledge, so it's aiming to slash global methane emissions by at least 30% come 2030. Pakistan continues struggling with pollution despite various initiatives. In Pakistan, ineffective enforcement of pollution regulations poses a significant hindrance, enhancing environmental degradation. Numerous sectors blatantly disregard environmental regulations with alarming frequency. Pakistan's limited human and financial resources, coupled with rapid population growth, hinder the government's ability to tackle pollution effectively. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.